Welcome to the Real Estate Investing Morning Show with your hosts, Wayne and Gabby.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning, real estate investors, and welcome to the Canadian Real Estate Investing Morning Show. On today's show, a new law in Ohio is making it harder for wholesalers to do business. The government is saying it's to protect the vulnerable and the elderly. Regardless, how is this going to affect wholesalers who are investing in Ohio? And more importantly, could it have an effect on other markets like Canada? Maybe some of our provinces? We're going to be getting into that today. Any Ohio investors joining us live today on the live show? We're broadcasting live on YouTube right now.
Are we going to wait to see if they say I'm investing in Ohio?
Yeah, that's what I was waiting for. I was giving you an opportunity to talk.
So far, it looks like we have Kirsten here joining us and Carmen.
Yes.
Both popped in to say good morning.
Yes, let us know. Is there anyone here investing in Ohio? Maybe Cleveland, perhaps? Maybe it's a pretty big market that I've seen a lot of Canadians jumping into over the last few years.
Yeah, definitely. So far, no takers. No takers on the live show.
Okay, thank you very much, Gabby. Okay, so we're going to be diving into that this morning. Like I said, we broadcast live every weekday morning at 7 a.m. Mountain Time on YouTube. You can join us by looking up the Canadian Real Estate Investing Morning Show or looking up Wayne Hillier, Real Estate Investing Coach. Join us at 7 a.m. Come on in. Anything that you guys want to talk about, put it in the chat. If you have any questions about real estate investing, you put it in the chat. We provide free coaching for real estate investors every weekday morning. All you got to do is just join us live, bring those questions, and we will give you the free coaching.
Yeah, last week we had a whole bunch of questions come in, which was awesome. We got to do some kind of like real-time coaching on people's actual problems or issues or things they want to learn about in their own journeys. And we love that stuff. So that was a lot of fun last week. And we hope that, it is a short week this week. Today's Tuesday, so we only have 4 days here this week. But bring your questions. Let's do it again.
Hope you guys had an awesome weekend last weekend.
Yes. Yeah, it was a long weekend. Weather was interesting, at least here where we are in Edmonton. A little bit of hot, a little bit of cold, a little bit of question marks. Yeah. But we hope that you enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And again, let us know, if you're investing in Ohio, whether this is relevant to you or not. Also, just let us know where you are. Let us know where you are in Canada right now. Most of our listeners are obviously Canadian Real Estate Investing Morning Show. Let us know where in Canada you are, where you're investing. A little bit more about yourselves. Why are we talking about Ohio? It's the Canadian Real Estate Investing Morning Show. Well, I think it applies to Canadian real estate investors. There are lots of investors who have started to flock to the U.S. over the last few years. As opportunities in Canada have started to dwindle, people have been looking for other opportunities in other markets. And Cleveland, Ohio is one of the most popular because of its ability to get cash flow and the prices for properties and the rents and just the overall general opportunities. And so I know that lots of people are very interested in this market. Me personally, I've looked. And this isn't ignorance. I have looked. I did not see what other people see. I still see opportunities in Canada. I talked about this a lot. It comes down to the numbers, and I think that the opportunities that are available in Canada are still significantly better than the opportunities that are in the U.S. But I know that lots of people are interested in this. Additionally, when a major law like this gets passed, and which restricts people's ability to be able to do business, I pay close attention because it sets precedents for other future laws in other markets. If they start with this, what's Ohio going to do next? You know what I mean? Or what are other states going to do next? Or if other states are starting to do this, or Ohio's doing this, and maybe some more tenant-friendly or homeowner-friendly markets in Canada get wind of this, what's to stop them from doing something similar when they see other states that are having success with it?
Yeah.
So we have to pay attention to things like this because it might affect our ability to be able to do business in our own market. Even though it's not in our market right now, you should be paying attention because it could come to our market. So I'm going to get right into it, actually. and read the article. This actually happened back in March, and I know about this back in March, but I never really thought it was worth bringing up because, well, for the same reasons that I just mentioned a minute ago. It's in Ohio. I'm not investing in Ohio. There's a few people that are investing in Ohio, but how many of them are wholesaling in Ohio? How is this relevant to anybody? Well, today I've been hearing more and more discussions about it, and the more and more people talk about it, the more and more it comes up on my feed, the more and more it starts reaching more people. That's when there's the potential that it could become top of mind for more people. So This is back in March of 2026. New measures are now in place to help protect consumers, especially older Ohioans from misleading or potentially predatory offers on their property. The Ohio Department of Commerce Division of Real Estate and Professional Licensing is spotlighting important changes resulting from Senate Bill 155, which was signed into law by Governor Mike DeWine on December 1st and takes effect on March 2nd. Real estate wholesalers are now required to provide a clear disclosure of their business model before entering into a contract with a property owner. This new requirement is designed to increase transparency in real estate transactions and better protect consumers. Wholesaling is a practice in which licensed or unlicensed individuals contact a seller who may want to sell their property quickly. They negotiate a price, usually lower than market value, and sign a contract to purchase the property. Those same individuals then market the property to potential buyers for a price above the contract price that they have it under contract for, assign the contract to the new buyer, then pocket the difference as profit. These sales typically occur simultaneously, so if an end buyer is not found, the sale may not take place at all. Now, while wholesaling is legal in most provinces, most states, in Ohio, Division Superintendent Daphne Hawk says this practice can be confusing to homeowners, particularly when wholesalers fail to clearly explain their role or their intentions. She says that that's what SB 155 aims to address. This time last year, the division partnered with the Ohio Department of Aging and Ohio District 5 Area Agency on Aging in Richland County to call attention to reports of a surge in unsolicited real estate offers targeting older homeowners. This new law is a major step forward in protecting Ohio homeowners, especially older adults, from misleading or high-pressure real estate sales tactics that might be utilized by some wholesalers in engaging with sellers, Hawk said. By requiring wholesalers to clearly disclose their role and intentions, we're giving property owners the transparency they deserve and the opportunity to make informed decisions. Our goal is to ensure that no Ohioan is caught off guard by a contract they don't fully understand, especially when it could potentially lead to the loss of their home equity and the property they've cherished for decades. Wholesalers must now provide a signed disclosure statement to property owners before executing a contract. If the disclosure is not provided, the homeowner has the right to cancel the agreement. This is huge.
Interesting, yeah.
This is huge. Violations by unlicensed wholesalers may be enforced under the Ohio Consumer Sales Practices Act by Ohio's Attorney General. The Ohio Department of Commerce has previously warned that older adults are often targeted with unsolicited real estate offers, including complex arrangements like sale leasebacks or reverse mortgages. I've actually personally seen a lot of subject to deals, very much as it's been happening. And I think with the surge of gators in the U.S. waters, you don't know. It's okay. Some people are going to understand that. I'm seeing a lot more of just the old cold calling. Hey, let me buy your house for half the price. Okay, that's no problem. I can give you the price you want as long as I can buy your debt. Essentially, it's agreements for sale in the U.S. Except they do what they do differently is that they sign over the title.
Okay.
Title gets transferred over, but the mortgage stays in the seller's name. It's very different from agreements for sale.
Mm-hmm.
But there's been a huge surge in that, so people will literally just call every real estate listing all day, cold calling, and hiring VAs to do it, and just waiting until someone shows a little bit of interest. So you can understand, if there's a lot of older, more vulnerable sellers, they might be taken advantage of with these fast talking, wholesaling, sales savvy individuals.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of complicated. They're vulnerable to a lot of complicated types of deals like this, like sale leasebacks, reverse mortgages, or subject to offers. These offers may appear attractive, but can carry hidden risks such as turning homeowners into tenants or including favorable terms that jeopardize long-term housing stability. To help protect themselves and their loved ones, Ohioans are encouraged to be cautious of any unsolicited offers to buy property, especially those that involve urgency or pressure. Ask questions and request written documentation before signing anything. And consult with a trusted advisor, attorney, or a family member before entering into any real estate agreement. And you can get more information at the division's consumer page. So that's that. That's what's happening right now in Ohio. As I mentioned earlier, it's a step in a direction. And, it might just be a one-off thing in Ohio and nobody else does it. Or perhaps other states might jump on it as well. Maybe municipalities come up with their own individual laws. Or maybe it crosses the border and finds its way into Canada, and some provinces or municipalities start implementing it as well. It typically doesn't really become a problem until it's a problem. And I think that wholesaling is relatively quiet right now in Canada because let's just say in a lot of some of the bigger provinces like Ontario and BC, a lot of investors are leaving. Because there's no real opportunities in those provinces to invest there. A lot of investors have been looking at different markets. So, maybe it's not happening so much right now. But if there was to be another real estate surge of opportunity here in either of those provinces, or perhaps maybe, things picked up significantly in Alberta, if enough people start complaining, if enough people start going to the news, and media outlets, then it's possible that perhaps, it could become top of mind. People could start speaking to their local, representatives.
Yeah. And
perhaps it could go in that direction where maybe we start, writing up a law that there's stricter wholesaling rules.
Yeah, it sounds like in this case they had a very specific problem where the elderly are being targeted, right? Mm-hmm. And so when there's enough of an issue of anything happening and enough people complaining, and in this case I'm assuming a lot of the children of those elderly people are going, whoa, what the heck is happening here? Like,
gam. What do you mean?
Yeah. What do you mean you sold your house? Or, yeah, that kind of stuff. Obviously, those people are going to make noise when their parents or grandparents are being taken advantage of, right? And so when enough, like Wayne was saying, when enough people make noise and when enough people start complaining, that's when the powers above start looking, and they're looking for case studies. What have other provinces done? What have other states done? What have other countries done to combat these issues that we're facing, right? And they start looking for case studies. And to me, that's exactly what this is. This is a case study on the books of a state who recently implemented a new law because they had an issue at hand with this particular strategy, which is wholesaling, right?
Yeah. So this isn't the first state to do this, though. And there are a couple other states that have done something similar. And what we're going to do is we're going to share some of those with you once we come back from the break here. We got to take a quick little commercial break. But when we come back, I do have a list of other states and municipalities that have done something similar. And this might actually, if you weren't concerned before, well, maybe you might be a little concerned after I'm done reading this, because this could be coming to your backyard, to your market sooner than later. And that could mean, tougher restrictions for you if you're a wholesaler or you're planning on starting a wholesaling business. So we're going to take a quick little commercial break. When we come back, we'll get right into it.
Real estate investors need to treat debt differently than homeowners, and at Kirkland & Brennan Mortgage Group, we understand that. For the last 11 years, we've helped real estate investors plan and build their portfolios. We understand how to help you avoid fees, penalties, getting yourself stuck, and making sure that the deal you're doing today doesn't stop the deal you want to do tomorrow. You can reach out to Keaton, Keaton, at kbmortgages.ca. Put plan on the subject line, and we'll help you build a plan and then realize it for your real estate goals. We also coordinate with the other professionals like your accountant, lawyer, realtor, and we will help you build your portfolio. So reach out. We'll do our best to help. Thanks, guys.
You've got showings, lease signings, suite renos, condo board meetings, credit checks, mortgage financing, and every so often the tenant clogs the sink because they shove macaroni down there. Stop. Breathe. Leave the bookkeeping to Fingo. Fingo is specialized real estate bookkeeping by real estate investors with tailored services for maximum returns. Save time. Enhance your returns. Claim the plumbing repair for that ridiculous macaroni fiasco. Book your free consultation at fingo.com.
Summer. While everyone's getting distracted, this is when the market gets quiet. Not because the opportunities disappear, but because the people do. Vacations, long weekends, these are the distractions I'm talking about. And that's exactly when serious investors make their moves. At Calvin Realty, this is one of our favorite windows. Less competition, more flexibility, and sellers who are actually open to negotiating. While everyone else is stepping away, we're stepping in. If you're looking to buy right, not just buy fast, this is your edge. Calvin Realty. Opportunity doesn't take time off.
All right, and we are back. And good morning again to everybody who's joining us live on YouTube. I see Charn is here now, and Manny's here as well.
Yeah.
Kainer's in the house.
Kainer. Good morning.
Kainer's in the house. Okay, good morning.
If you're here live with us, say good morning so we know you're here. Yeah.
You have anything else to say while I take a sip of my coffee? I was chatting too much with you during the break, and I didn't get any chance to talk with my coffee.
Do I have anything else to say while you have a drink of your coffee?
Stage is yours.
Hello, everyone.
Thanks, Gabby. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Okay, so I just want to get back to this and just throw a couple other key points here. And that is that Ohio's new law, which became effective on March 2nd, 2026, is primarily a transparency law. It's not a licensing law, okay?
Right.
It's all about transparency. For residential properties containing 1 to 4 units. So this doesn't apply to multifamily, anything more than 4 units. It's only for the residential properties of 1 to 4 units. Wholesalers must provide a separate signed disclosure before entering the purchase contract. It must explain the following: that they are acting as a wholesaler, not representing the owner, that they intend to assign the contract or charge the eventual buyer a fee, that they may be purchasing the property below market value, and
Interesting.
And that they could profit by assigning their interest to another buyer. So it's a full disclosure. It's a full disclosure and full transparency of what it is that they're doing. If the disclosure is missing, as I mentioned earlier, the seller can cancel any time before closing. And the violation may be treated as an unfair or deceptive consumer practice. So even if you got them to sign on the line that's dotted, even if you got your end buyer and they're ready and you've got your assignment fee all built into it, and it's the day before closing. If the seller gets wind of all of this and they don't like it, they have the right to cancel their
Sale contract.
unconditional sale contract.
Yeah. It's interesting because when you were reading the article earlier, it really only kind of mentioned that they needed to disclose that their intention was to assign the contract, right? Like that was kind of like how the article laid out.
Mm-hmm.
But these are some very specific other items that need to be within that disclosure, right?
Yeah.
Even just the fact that I may be purchasing the property below market value. Like that's something that most wholesalers aren't just going to come out and say, like, hey, by the way, thanks for the steal of a deal. I'm getting this way below market value. You know what I mean? Like that's not a very good sales tactic, right?
This is going to make it incredibly difficult for wholesalers to do business, because a lot of wholesaling is a little manipulation, a little sales tactics, right?
Yeah, and I think that's typically why a lot of people why it gets a bad name is because that is like it can be very salesy. If you have a certain type of person, it can be very salesy, and they can just smooth their way over all of that stuff without actually having to come out and say it.
Yeah, don't worry. Yeah. You know what? We'll take this. You don't have to worry about cleaning anything up. Don't worry about it. Like, I know that there's 7 dead cats in the basement. I'll take care of it. Right? Don't worry about it. I know you're behind on your payments and everything else. I got this. But meanwhile, they're getting the property for pennies on the dollar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We'll get into the ethics of it in a little bit here, but it's there is a reason why they're doing this, and I think it's not. I mean, don't get me wrong. This applies to everybody, not just the vulnerable. So this is going to make it hard for wholesaling for everybody. But the purpose of this transparency law is to protect the vulnerable, is to protect the people who would be victim to something predatory like this, and not to shut down wholesaling altogether. It's to help protect the vulnerable from the villainous.
Yeah, the
You know what I mean?
predators. Yeah.
Let's talk about some of these other markets with similar or stronger laws. Maryland has a very similar requirements to Ohio. They have a written disclosure of the intended assignment. There's a written disclosure of the intended assignment is required. So similar to Ohio. Failure to disclose can allow the seller to rescind before closing. And that actually came into effect on October 1st, 2025. So Maryland came into effect before Ohio.
So was Maryland a case study for Ohio?
Perhaps. See what I mean? Like it tends to go almost like a domino. Oregon, considerably stronger. In Oregon, wholesalers must register with the state, must complete education and a background check, disclose their role in contracts and advertising, and provide a 3 business day cancellation period. Go Oregon. I love I think Oregon's a really beautiful state.
You know what? I
but
think
they sure know how to protect the innocent.
Yeah, but you know what? Anytime that there's like you need to register or you need to complete education, or anytime that anything like that is brought in, I don't see a problem with that. I think it's just holding people accountable for their roles, which, like, even if there was a landlord where we needed to complete a landlord course and register with the city, I personally don't have a problem with that because I'm not planning on doing anything shady. Do you know what I mean? It's almost just like an accountability for being ethical. And why should we have a problem with that if we plan on being ethical? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, I don't hate this. I'm not against it. I think that there's nothing wrong with it if you're doing business properly. Am I wrong?
You're not wrong. It's a strong argument. I mean, there's plenty of people that want to debate otherwise, because if that argument is your argument, then that argument could be used in many other arguments similar to. But it's I think it really comes down to where you stand on things, and do you believe the government should be involved in things in business and decisions like this, or should they just let us do us? But there's always going to be somebody that's affected. There's always going to be someone vulnerable. And what ends up happening, like I said earlier, is that you have enough people getting affected, and then people start crying, and then they start putting new laws in place. And we'll talk about all the ethics of that in a little bit here. I feel like there is something I want to talk about in today's episode, but just not quite yet, because I want to get through this list. Pennsylvania. You guys ever heard of Pennsylvania? Yeah. In Pennsylvania, wholesaling is treated as licensed real estate activity. A real estate license is generally required if you want to wholesale in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Holy guac. Illinois. A few cities in Illinois. 2 or more wholesale contract transactions within a 12-month period. I'll repeat. If you are doing 2 or more wholesale contract transactions in 1 year, in a 1-year period, that constitutes a pattern of business. And if you have a pattern of doing wholesaling business, you are required to have a real estate license.
So in other words, you can do one a year. Wholesale one contract a year without a license.
Yeah.
And that's definitely not a business, right?
I wonder how they enforce that.
Yeah. How would they know?
Unless, of course, someone was to, there's real estate councils, obviously, that govern all this. I wonder if there was a complaint that was made about a wholesaling business, and then they could find proof that you have been doing more than one wholesaling deal every year, then they would probably just fine you. I would say it's probably not like there's wholesale police out there now.
Yeah, because it didn't mention anything about needing to register or, anything like that. So, yeah. I'd say you're probably right.
I was just thinking about wholesaling police. That'd be really silly.
Badge of honor.
Wouldn't that be silly?
I'm the law, the
You
wholesaling
ever see
law.
in a Yellowstone where it's like, are you the police? No, I'm in the live. What do they say? They're like the livestock agency or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like they show.
Yeah, that's serious business.
Show up to the house and they're just like, what are you, the police? Nope. Worse. I'm the wholesaling police. The little things I find funny. Anyways, that's it. I don't like that one. I don't like that one at all. Not cool, Illinois. Not cool. Texas. Yeah, big Texas. Wholesalers in Texas must disclose the nature of their contractual or equitable interest and cannot misleadingly advertise themselves as owning the property. Let me reread that one again. Wholesalers must disclose the nature of their contractual or equitable interest and cannot misleadingly advertise themselves as owning the property. See, what this sounds more like is it's less about the manipulation of the seller and more of the manipulation of pretending that you actually own the property to an end buyer.
Yeah, it sounds like they had maybe a different issue they were combating in Texas.
This seems like the complaint is more revolving around end buyers paying more than what the wholesalers had it under contract for. End buyers not being happy. So investors and homeowners that are buying the property at the at the end of the transaction, not being happy that a wholesaler is pocketing the difference or pocketing a fee, which is very interesting.
More transparency for the end buyer.
Very interesting. There's normally more complaints coming from the seller side.
Yeah.
The original seller, not necessarily the buyers. But, okay, interesting. In Arizona, wholesalers are required to disclose that they hold only an equitable interest when advertising a wholesale opportunity.
Sounds kind of similar to Texas.
The wording of it, that they hold only an equitable interest. Okay, when advertising a wholesale opportunity. So similar, it's that you don't technically own the property. You just own an equitable interest in the property because you have a contract. Yeah. You have a contract that says, I can buy this property for this price. Therefore I hold an equitable interest in this property, and it must be disclosed to the end buyer. Again, some southern states not very happy with people making money. Oklahoma requires written disclosures explaining that the wholesaler has a contractual interest and may assign that interest for a profit. So again, more concern for the sellers.
Mm-hmm.
They need to provide written disclosures that this wholesaler has a contractual interest, and they may assign that interest for a profit. So they need to be able to tell the seller that I can do this,
yeah,
and I may be making a profit. Philadelphia, which is back in Pennsylvania, we already talked about Pennsylvania earlier. Philadelphia actually created its own municipal wholesaler licensing and consumer disclosure rules, in addition to Pennsylvania state requirements. And this is what I was talking about earlier. It might not just stop at the state or the province. It might go even further into municipal, and cities might actually start putting in their own rules if they see a problem that needs to be resolved. Typically, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. It has to be squeaky enough in order for it to take up time, energy, and, media exposure. Doing something like this is going to make the news, right? It's going to get a lot of noise. So it better be squeaky enough in order to justify pulling out the grease can.
Well, and what else is interesting here is that Pennsylvania arguably had the most strict, where wholesaling is treated as a licensed real estate activity, and that you need to hold a real estate license to wholesale. So it says Philadelphia has its own wholesaler licensing and consumer disclosure in addition to Pennsylvania state requirements. So,
like, holy shit.
Yeah. It's like maximum.
Yeah, I mean, wholesaling just sounds almost
impossible.
And not just Pennsylvania, but also in Philadelphia as well.
Mm-hmm.
Which, if they don't want it to happen, that's a good way to stop it.
Yeah.
Columbus, Ohio. So we already talked about Ohio already. Columbus, the city of Columbus has established a local wholesaler registry and additional disclosure and marketing requirements before Ohio adopted its statewide law.
Okay.
So it sounds like it might have started in Columbus and then worked its way up to the state. There is a registry, additional disclosure, and marketing requirements. So you got to be very clear on your marketing requirements as well. Again, I don't believe that there is any wholesaling police, but these are rules. And if you I'd love to dive deeper into this actually and find out what some of these fines would be and penalties for wholesalers if someone files a complaint about their marketing and saying that their marketing is misleading or false. I mean, that could be pretty expensive.
Yeah, for sure. And then the other side of me is thinking, it's like, okay, now they have to have a specific department or, whatever it may be, office that oversees this. And if complaints do come in, to actually enforce and hand out fines and, go through that process. So
it'd probably be the real estate council.
Probably, yeah.
Or whatever they call that body in
in
that state.
States, yeah.
But I do know that, many wholesalers have gotten fines in Canada, across Canada and certain provinces. I've heard of different stories over the years, because of the misleading nature, or the fact that I've heard of some realtors actually getting in trouble. And not, because I know that some realtors in some provinces, I'm not an expert on this, so I'm just speaking very loosely, but not providing proper disclosure and acting as a wholesaler. And that's something you really, really want to be careful if you're a realtor, is that if you hold a real estate license in your province, and you decide, hey, there's a really good deal here, I could wholesale this, make sure that you understand what your requirements are for disclosure to that seller, because you could get in trouble if you don't properly disclose that you are a realtor and that you're not representing them. So, it's back to your point. I think that the real estate council of whatever province or state would be the ones that would be overseeing this, and these laws are probably fall under that real estate law. And ultimately, at the end of the day, I mean, all of this, it might seem like overkill to a lot of people. And like there was I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was one of those states. I was just like, calm down. Like, you know what I mean? This is overkill and too much oversight. And once that starts happening, it's like a domino. And then suddenly they do that, then they're going to do this, and going to do this. Like, Alberta, for example, has had some really good landlord and tenant laws, for very fair landlord and tenant laws, very balanced for a long time. And everyone keeps saying, well, you got to be careful. It's one of these days they're gonna follow suit for Ontario and BC, and it's just gonna be like that in Alberta. And we're like, why? Like, this is fucking common sense. Yeah. And it's like, we don't need that much oversight. Like, what you do is you're unbalancing the scales. You're putting it too far this way or too far that way. And Ontario and BC are way too, lean towards tenants, and it's not fair. And it should be very clear and fair. Like Alberta is, and I pray that we don't ever get into a situation where our landlord and tenant laws, our Residential Tenancies Act, changes and looks a lot more like theirs. But I don't believe that there should be that much oversight. I don't believe that there should be that much imbalance. I think that it should be balanced, and the law should dictate how it all plays out. But I do worry when it comes to wholesaling that, like, we have a right. We have the right to be able to assign our interest in a contract. And this isn't just for wholesaling. This is, I don't know how much you guys know about wholesaling. There's some great courses I can refer you guys to, or you can join our mentorship program. I can teach you how to wholesale. But not just real estate contracts, purchase contracts, like all contracts are assignable. That's just a general, what's the word I'm looking for? Right that we have.
Yeah.
And being a contract to purchase or a purchase contract shouldn't change anything, right? It shouldn't change anything at all. We have the right to assign our interest in that contract. Just like you have your right to assign your right. Sorry, you have the right to assign your interest in a contract for anything else. And I worry that if we start changing the rules around this, or we start changing the rules in this city or in that province, it's just it's that domino thing, where like one person does it and then somebody else does it, and then people start complaining. We should be able to assign our interest. We should be able to make profit out of it. If there's a rule and there's a law that says that we can do something, you bet your butt I'm going to find a way to make money off of it. You know what I mean? That's just opportunity. That's just capitalism. I'm sorry, if you don't like if you don't like making money, and if you don't like the way that people make money, then go get a job and clock in every day and shut up, and somebody else would do it. Your boss will do it for you. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then you can go work for somebody who does. If you don't like it, then I'm sorry. That's just the way that the world turns. Yeah. People buy things for less and sell it for more. Yeah. People find opportunities where people need things and they sell them those things for a profit. That is how the world turns. Okay? So economies are created. Yeah. So if someone sees an opportunity to buy something and they want to sell it to somebody else for profit, they should have the right to be able to do that. So is wholesaling ethical? I think that the question starts to get a little bit clouded, and the opinions start to get clouded, and the debate starts once we start talking about something that is a what people deem to be a human right or necessity.
Right.
And that is housing, and that
Shelter.
People have a strong belief that shelter should not be profited on. That's everyone deserves it, and leave shelter and food out of it. Well, food, I'm sorry, people are profiting on food too.
Yes.
Right? People are profiting on water,
electricity.
human needs, electricity, natural gas, right? I don't see how housing is any different, but I can understand people's argument towards it is that, you shouldn't go after that, and that should be put in its own category. But, is wholesaling ethical? That's the question. Is buying something at a discount and selling it to somebody else for profit, like a house or a condo or land, ethical? I think that, and should there be stricter rules around it? And I'd love to know what you guys think in the chat. And the chat's been like extremely quiet today.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's because we took yesterday off. It's always like the day after we take time off is that like the chat's always like ridiculously quiet. Or maybe they took an extended weekend and maybe they're still at the lake. Who knows? But, and if you're not here on the live chat, let us know. Send us an email. Let me know your thoughts. Send an email to info@reimorningshow.com. Let me know what you think about this, because I know that if I were to put this online right now, I have a strong feeling that my reach would increase very dramatically.
Mm-hmm.
And I would be flooded with people who disagree with our position on wholesaling.
Yep.
And have a firm belief that wholesaling is unethical, it is predatory, and that we shouldn't be doing this, and that homes should be homes and not, made for profit.
Yeah. There is a comment here in the live chat. Stuart says, profit is the thing that lets you keep your job on months your boss doesn't make money. I view profit as a measure of efficiency in an endeavor. Our lives and society fall apart without profit.
I hope you're a good hunter-gatherer.
Yeah.
I ain't. I was born in Ontario. I was born in Southern Ontario. I was born in Southern because I'm a city boy.
Okay.
I'm a big lefty city boy. I was born in a bubble. I may look rugged. You know what I mean? I may look like a man's man. You know what I mean? But I'll go and kill the beast for my family, but I'm just saying I might not be the most qualified. So anyways, I like the way that the world turns is what I'm getting at. That's my point. I like the way the world turns because I'm really good at it. I'm really good at finding problems, offering solutions, and profiting from them.
Yeah.
Right? And making profit from them. And I know that the way that I word that doesn't sound the best, but my ability to create business, my ability to be able to, find problems, create solutions, and sell them, whether that be a service or product, is very good. I'm very good at it.
Yeah.
And I think that everybody knows my stance on that. And my belief is that any business that I do, I don't step on people. I don't step over people. And I want to make sure that it's win-win-win. Everybody ends up better than the way that they showed up. And when there's a problem, that solution better put them in a better position.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and that's what, like, when the question of is wholesaling ethical, like when I think of wholesaling and I think of why people end up using a wholesaler, I think that wholesaling provides a specific life raft to people who need it.
Yeah.
Right? And
a specific life raft.
A specific life raft to a specific person who needs it.
With a specific problem.
And I think where the problem comes in is when we go back to, we can read in some of these laws that were outlined, is that some of these states are facing a specific problem where clearly it has become more predatory than actually handing somebody a life raft who needs it.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think that we can kind of like divide a line in wholesaling and say that there is a very ethical, a very beautiful, harmonious way for it to be a really good product for a pretty large group of people, especially in today's economy. We can say that in the States, in Canada, and many different countries in the world, that we have this crisis happening around homeownership and people's financial situations. So I think that wholesalers can provide a really great solution to those people who are in those situations. But then we have the other side of that line that we cut in half, where people are using it as an opportunity to prey on bad situations, and they're using it in a predatory way, right?
And so, Gabby, a lot of your dealings in real estate investing are more on the business management side of it, and not necessarily in the acquisitions and networking and stuff. But I don't know what you've seen, but from what I've seen in the market, wholesaling education is it teaches people to be predatory. Wholesaling education, like historically, and what's out there in the market right now, teaches people to be predatory. And I feel like we're the only ones that have more of a wholesome and ethical approach to wholesaling. There's a big reason why I never did wholesaling in the beginning, was because I didn't believe it to be ethical. I didn't like the way that people were teaching it. I didn't like what people were doing. So I said, I don't want anything to do with that. Over the years, I developed my own way of finding a way to make it win-win. And now I teach that. However, most of the education out there for wholesaling and assignments is incredibly predatory. It helps people, put together scripts and sales tactics and maneuvers and things like that in order to get people to say yes when they don't want to say yes. That's what it's all about. It's like, give me your script. What's your script? How do I get someone to say yes? How do I get good deals? How do I get it for the lowest price? Meanwhile, you do realize is that every dollar you take from that other person is a dollar you're taking from them. It's a dollar from their table. It's a dollar from their bank account. In order to you taking their dollar and putting it in your bank account, putting it on your table. It's taking from someone else's table and putting it on your table. And your ability to be able to manipulate them through sales scripts and one-liners and gimmicks and manipulation determines how much you take from somebody else. It's like a tug of war. It's a rope, and you're just trying to tug harder so you get more of their rope. I hope that visualization really helps and shows you my personal opinion on wholesaling early on. Is that's all people want. They want to take more from their table and put it onto my table. Because if I can get more from their table, then I will have more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How can I take from everybody else so that I have more? And I personally believe that approach is completely fucking bullshit. In any business.
Yeah.
In any business. I do not believe that is fair. So, and that's the way that it's taught. And that's what everybody wants from me. They're reaching out like, hey, give me your wholesaling script. How do you get them to say yes? I'm like, no, I'm not giving you a fucking script. How about you listen? How about instead of like trying to manipulate them with your words, how about you show up and listen to what their problem is and try and help them. And through that discussion, as you're working out a plan to help them out of their problem and solve it, is there any way that you could find a way to win as well, to profit from it? And if through that transaction, through that discussion, you can't find a way in order to make it profitable for you, or you can't find a way to win for yourself, then just don't. How about that? How about you just go in there with the right intentions?
Yeah. There's another comment here, which I think is a great kind of segue. Stuart says, I don't see any legit argument that says wholesaling is unethical in general. The ethicality is dependent on the actions of the person operating within the legal framework.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Beautifully said, by the way.
Yeah, and I want to come back to that in a minute.
Okay.
But there was other comments.
Yes. Oh, sorry. I thought you had something you wanted to say. Kirsten says Barry taught it well. So
Barry
referring
Maguire.
to Barry Maguire.
Barry
Yes.
Maguire, and that's who taught us. And everything that we teach is a direct reflection of that. Now we've added our own to it since, and we've taken and grown on it. But our whole principles and framework for how we teach and what we teach is completely built off of what Barry and Donna Maguire taught us, and we have a lot to thank them for in that regard.
Yeah.
But yeah, they taught it well. They were all about win-win.
Yeah. And then Stuart also says any seller could call a real estate agent separate from the wholesaler and get a second opinion for free.
Yeah.
In a day. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Going back to Stuart's earlier comments, the ethicality being dependent on the actions of the person operating within the legal framework. That's a perfect way of kind of closing out today's episode, because I think that so long as the law is balanced, as long as the system is built in a balanced way, and buyers and sellers I should say buyers and sellers, both sides of the transaction, can fairly walk into a negotiation and work out a deal, then I think that's fine. In situations where people are being taken advantage of, there's always going to be people getting taken advantage of, because there's always going to be an inequality. There's always going to be an imbalance in the world, because not everyone is capable. Okay. And not everyone is fully capable of making their own decisions, making informed decisions. And that could be their fault. It could be not their fault, right? Regardless, there are people who are incapable based on disabilities. And there are people who are incapable based on ignorance. And I would say there are more incapable than there are capable. And if there is an imbalance in society of, capable and incapable people, then there, from a probability perspective and numbers perspective, I would say that we are most certainly going to hear more people taken advantage of than people finding fair transactions in real estate. That's the safest way I could say all that, by the way, without sounding judgmental and without being insensitive. Taking disabilities out of the equation, there's just a lot of really dumb people out there. And those are the ignorant ones that I was talking about. People who are not willing to go out and get properly educated, not willing to go out and do their own proper research, and putting themselves in terrible situations, and then looking for a life raft, and then they get taken advantage of. I think that everybody has the same ability. Everyone has the same rights to education. Everybody has the same capabilities of going out and getting properly educated and making good decisions for their life. The unfortunate thing is that, some people get put into situations where they get taken advantage of because they call these 1-800, numbers, and they sell their house for less than what they could have gotten. But did they do any research? And why were they in that situation in the first place? So I think that, again, all that sounds judgmental, but I'm being truthful here and just focusing on the facts. I'm not surprised to hear that more people aren't being taken advantage. Like, I'm not surprised that I'm hearing so many people being taken advantage of, just from a numbers perspective. What can we do to better educate people to make capable and informed decisions? Sorry, to make more informed decisions, what I meant. What can we do to better educate people, and what other types of education can be put out there so that people understand what this actually is. Disclosure could help, right? But my personal opinion is that I think that I don't want it to affect my right to be able to assign my interest in a contract. I don't want ignorant people getting into transactions with predatory vultures and those case studies to affect my ability to do business because I'm not doing anything wrong. That should be in its own category. And I don't think that we should be changing laws just to protect the few. Period. That's my opinion. I don't think you should change the overall laws or the rules of the game. I think that you should put out better education and maybe guidelines or barriers to make sure that people aren't being taken advantage of. But changing the laws altogether,
right,
you're taking away my rights. And my right is that I should be able to wholesale my interest or assign my interest in a contract. So I think it's all in the approach and the intention.
Yeah.
I think that people getting into wholesaling with the wrong intentions, there's an overwhelming amount of people that are getting into wholesaling with the wrong intentions because I think that they're being taught that way. They're being taught to call as many people as possible with a script, and it's a numbers game. And eventually somebody will say yes. Eventually somebody will be stupid enough in order to accept your offer. I think that needs to stop. And I think that we should be holding educators more accountable. I think we should be calling educators out for that bullshit. I'm right here every morning calling out this bullshit every day. Other educators and their nonsense and what they're teaching people because they're normalizing it.
Yeah.
They're normalizing predatory behavior and business practices. I think it's bullshit. I think there's lots of ways to make money in real estate without taking advantage of other people. And I think you should be asking yourself, I want to go and make money in real estate. How can I do this in a way that's not going to hurt other people? How can I do this in a way that's not going to be taking from other people's table and putting it on my table? Is there a way to create wealth without stepping or trampling on other people or stepping over people, right? And that's a question you should be asking yourself every single day. Am I taking from somebody else or am I providing a service that solves their problem? All of my business is all about everyone winning. I do not take from anyone. I don't. And even if I am getting a really good deal on a real estate deal, I'm finding value in other ways that the seller would have never saw the value, right? I'll give them exactly what they need, but I will find value in other creative ways because I decided to go out and invest in my own education. I decided to learn how to do different strategies that other people don't know, right? I'm going to buy that house, but I'm going to add a secondary suite and dramatically increase the value of the property. Am I taking from someone? No, I gave them exactly what they wanted, but I saw that the value that they were selling it for was good enough in order for me to be able to buy that, to add value to it, to be able to increase the property's value. I did not take anything. I am equipped with skills and strategies that create value so that I can give them the value that they need and I can create my own value. I am buying properties at full market value and adding 4-unit, multi-unit garden suites to the back and creating $250,000 worth of equity. Did I steal from the person that sold it from me? No, I gave them exactly what they wanted. I gave them exactly what they needed in that transaction. I did not take from their table. I added more value from my skills that I developed through investing in myself, investing in research, investing in education, right? So it's the same thing with wholesaling. If you're going to approach wholesaling, make sure that you're not taking advantage of people. Make sure you're not taking from their table to add to your table. Find a way to be able to create value. Find a way to be able to solve their problem and also develop a solution that you can profit from, right? I think you should keep wholesaling the way that it is, to summarize. I think you should keep it the way that it's always been. And I think that people just need to stop being dicks. That's today's show, guys. We really appreciate you guys hanging out with us. We will see you guys all on Wednesday.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. Want to be coached personally by Wayne and Gabby? Then you should join the Real Estate Investing Masters Mentorship Program. Details are in the show notes to get started.